Okay, so we are moving on to some more CSS styling. So if you completed Quick Start 3 and you did a good job of it, you can carry on with that. If you want a fresh start, then take Quick Start 4 zip from the link in the description of this video, download it and unzip it. And take that folder, MogHub website, pop it on your desktop. Okay, and then open up Dreamweaver, and it should automatically connect up to the same folder, and then you should be good to go. So this activity is really about trying to apply the box model to various parts of the website to start styling it. Now we are going to jump around a little bit. And that's really quite normal for web design. So if you see here, I'm going to try and zoom out a little bit. Let's try no, that's not good. Let's just go full size. Okay, and let's just make this a bit bigger. Alright, so here's our style sheet. So the first thing I want to do is do some styling to the body tag. So the body tag is kind of a block level tag because it's a box. The body area is a box. So we're going to make a selector for body, and we're going to uncheck show set so we can see all of our properties. We're going to go to background color. And the color that I'm going to enter here is a hexadecimal code E0F4CC. Enter, and that's kind of a mint green color. We're also going to set our margins. Okay, next we're going to look for margins, so that will be under layout. Let's just switch here, and here's our margins. So we're going to set them all to 0, so just lock them together and just any one of these, select and hit enter. That just removes the default 5 pixel margin that your browser will apply. We're also going to choose a font family for the body tag, because remember it's cascading, so you need to try and set things like font at the highest level possible. So over here, font family, we're just going to choose something that's got Arial in it. Let's see. Okay, here's one here. I think I'm going to build a new font group. So manage fonts, and let's go to custom font stacks, and let's choose Arial. Okay, add that first, and then Helvetica. Let's add that next. If you don't have Helvetica, leave that out, and then just any sans serif. So sans serif, add that in there. Okay, and then done. Alright, so now I should be able to choose that as my font family, Arial, Helvetica, sans serif. If you're on Windows, you might not have Helvetica, so you could choose maybe Arial, Trebuchet, sans serif. Okay, so all my fonts changed to that color. So that's the body tag done. The next thing, if you look at my code or in the DOM panel, you'll see we have, after the body tag, we have the wrapper. So I'm just going to click on the wrapper there, and then go to selector, and you'll see that it picks up wrapper. Enter, and let's change the width, so that will be under layout, the width to 960 pixels. So pixels and then 960. Okay, and background color, so that will be here. Background color is going to be F9 dB, 89, like a beigey color. That's for the wrapper. And then we're going to go to margins, and we're going to say margin left is going to be, oh sorry, let me do that again. Margin left will be auto, and margin right will be auto. That just makes sure that it gets centered on the page. Just going to zoom out a little bit, so holding Control or Command and minus, so that I can see, yes, the wrapper is centered on the page. So that's what the margin auto does. Then I'm going to go to, if I have a look at the DOM, the next thing that I have is a header section. So I'll select header. I'll go to selectors, and I do not want it to be wrapper header, I just want it to be header. And enter. And for header, we're going to set a background color, which will be EEED9F. Okay, and then the height, so that will be under the layout section. The height I'm going to set to pixels and an amount of 150 pixels. Alright, and sometimes it starts to look bad, and that's because we haven't finished our styling yet. So 150 height, and then we're going to set the position property that is further down here to relative. Now that will make sense later when we start positioning the logo and things like that. So setting something to a position relative means that items that are child objects of that can be positioned absolutely inside there. Right, so that's the header. Let's look at the header image. So we'll go back to our DOM, and here's the header image, and we'll make a new selector, which will be header image, not with the wrapper. We don't need that. Header image. We'll set the width to 100 pixels. Okay, so this is the logo, and then the height we're going to set to auto. Okay, we're going to set the position to absolute. Okay, and then we're going to set the top value to 10 pixels and the left value to 10 pixels. Okay, so now the logo is 10 pixels away from the top and the side of the parent object, which is the header. Now everything else kind of moves over it, because when you set a position to absolute, it lifts it out of its position in the HTML. But we will fix this as we go. So let's have a look at our DOM. So the next thing after the image is the nav called top links. So I'm going to click on that and make a new selector, which will be just for top links. So we don't want our selectors to be too long unnecessarily, so top links is fine. And for that selector, we're going to set the position to absolute. It's here. Okay, we're going to set the width here to 500. Now these are not magical numbers that I happen to know. These are numbers that I've experimented with in advance so that I know what numbers I'm going to enter, so that I don't waste time in the video. When you're designing, you can experiment and try different values to see what works for you. We're going to set the top value to 100 pixels. And the right value to 10 pixels. Okay, so that's some of the box level stuff that we've done in the header. We're going to come back and do some of the other stuff like the links and that, but that will be in a later video. So at the moment, don't worry that it doesn't look great. Then there's also a fix that we need to apply, which is a common fix for web pages, which is where as soon as you set something's value or float value to left or right, it collapses the parent object. So let me show you what I mean. If I take this main area, so I'm just going to go to the DOM and I'm going to select main. Okay, this is just a temporary thing I'm going to do just to show you this. And so main, and I'll just set the background color to something that we will definitely see. Okay, so there's the main area, and then inside that main area I have all of these items here. So if I take the H1 and I set a selector, let me just do that for the H1. Okay, and I'm just going to set a selector for all of those things: H1, H2, P, UL, IMG. Okay, so for all of those things, I'm going to actually say float left. Can you see the way that my main area collapses? Because as soon as you float an element, it literally floats out of that position in the HTML, and therefore the item that was holding that doesn't see it anymore and therefore collapses. And that becomes a problem for setting the height of parent containers, because I actually want this main to be the correct height to hold the content. So the way that you fix that is in your HTML, at the very bottom of the main area, or whatever area it is that you don't want to collapse, you just put in an empty HTML tag, and the easiest one to put in is a BR. That's a line break because it takes up hardly any space. So BR, oops, let me just do that again. Left beak, BR, right beak. Okay, and then within that BR we will just call a CSS class. Class equals clearfix. Okay, that's just a name that's used commonly in web design. It isn't a special name. I could call it myfix if I wanted to. So BR class equals clearfix. I'm just going to copy that, and I'm going to go to every single one of these pages, and at the end of the main section, but before the end main tag, I'm going to paste that clearfix BR. There it is there. And here. Okay, and now I'm going to make a new CSS selector, which will be dot clearfix, and I'm just going to set the clear value to clear all, so clear both. So that clears the float, and so what happens is that your parent tag now clears all the way down to where that BR is, which means that your main area will always be as high as it needs to be. Seems like a funny thing to have to do, but it's a workaround that's been in HTML forever, and it's just a way of making sure that your parent HTML box doesn't collapse when you use the float option. Okay, so now that I've got that, I can actually remove this here. I don't need it anymore. Okay, and let's also set the main background color back to nothing. Okay, so that was just putting in the clearfix which we needed to do. Then also we need to put in some custom IDs, because not every single one of the pages is going to be treated the same in the main area. So for the index, we're going to go to the main area, and we need to put in a tag. I just want to check what it is, where it goes. Okay, we need to put in our entire main area content into a div tag with a unique ID so that we can treat it uniquely. So we're going to go to, let me just double check where my code goes. Okay, actually we don't. We're just going to, for the main tag, we're just going to put in an ID of home info. Okay, and then for the bookings, we're going to put in for the main area an ID of bookings. So each one of these has a unique ID, so that if I do at any stage want to treat that particular main area differently, I can hook into that ID. ID, gallery, and for the membership ID, membership, and ID volunteer. Whoops. Okay. Alright, so that's quite a common thing as well. It's just make an ID where you think, well, maybe I want this to be a little bit different to the other mains, so therefore I can hook into a selector for that ID to give it some unique treatment. Okay, what else do we need to do at this stage? So let's actually do something with that home info ID. So back to the index page, and we're going to go into our DOM, and we'll select the main home info, make a selector which will be just home info, hash home info. Okay, and we are going to set a background color, uncheck show set. Background color is going to be white. Okay, the width is going to be set to 100%, so it will always be the full percentage width. Okay, the padding at the top will be 15 pixels. So over here we have padding, so 15, just pushes it down a little bit, and the padding at the bottom will be 20 pixels. Okay, and that is that main area. What else do we need to do here? Okay, for the columns, so this home page doesn't have columns, but for bookings we have these col1, col2, col3. So let's do something with those. So over here I'm going to zoom out a little bit so we can see our stuff. And I'm just going to make a new selector for hash col1, comma, hash col2, comma, hash col3. So we're styling all three columns at the same time. We're going to set a width to 300 pixels. And we will set a text align to center. Okay, and then we'll set the float to left. Okay, so you can see that floats them next to each other, and because we have that clearfix, it doesn't collapse the main area. Okay, now for our bookings and volunteer images. So bookings, we have these three images, and volunteer, we have an image somewhere here. No, we don't. Okay. Alright. Let's go back to bookings and let's see. So I just want to zoom in a bit here. So we're going to make a new selector for bookings and image. So any images that are within the bookings area, we're going to set the width, just enter that, the width to 40 pixels. And the height to auto. Okay. And okay, that's all of our block level stuff. No, there's two more things here. So for membership, column 1 and column 3, we're not going to display those. So let's go to membership, Zoom out a little bit so we can see our stuff. And remember, we had column 1 and column 3 are empty. So we're going to go selector and we're going to set it to membership, and col space hash col1 comma membership space hash col3. So for those two items, we're going to set the display option here to none. Okay, and that's mainly because when we get to do responsive design, we're going to need to set the display again. So we're just setting it now so that it tracks that. And then for col2, so that will be a new selector for membership col2, we're going to set the float to none. Okay, and we're going to set the padding left to 145. So padding left 145. Okay, that just pushes everything over, makes it look nice and centered. Okay, so that's all I'm doing with the box level stuff at the moment. So I'm just going to say File, Save All, go back to Index, and let's do a Chrome browser preview. Okay, let's just zoom out a little bit here. So you can see it's starting to come together. It's not looking perfect, but it's getting there. So bookings, volunteer, gallery, and member. Okay, so we'll carry on in the next activity working with typography. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel and see you next time.